Welcome back to College Football episode 27. We just had our best season ever with a top 10 finish and a trip to the playoff. And we actually even won the first round, pulling the upset over Auburn. We are getting better and better and better as the seasons go on. Our final ranking ends up being 9th place, and you could already see that we have picked up a half-star worth of prestige. We are now a 2.5-star program. So we have 5 players set to leave us over playing time, 3 of those backup quarterbacks, and only a single player slightly worried about play style. Very few guys should be leaving us after making the playoff. It does look like we're going to lose a little bit more than that. The play style guy, not a concern. Play time guys, all 5 are a concern. Plus 2 wide receivers that look like they're headed off to the draft. Round 7 is all, but yeah, they're going to be a bit of a loss, though recruiting wide receivers has not been a problem. It's been the easiest position to recruit of late, and we've got a lot of talent there. So I've been able to convince 2 of them to stay, so actually we're only losing 5 players to the transfer market, or to anything early, right? 3 players to the transfer market and 2 to the draft. Quarterback, this is the one that I didn't care about getting back, but I had enough persuasion tokens to go after each of them. Anyway, Countess, the backup quarterback, is going to stick around for his senior year, and then a couple really good freshmen are leaving us. I would have much rather have kept one of them, but we've got a strong side linebacker freshman who's also going to stick around. In terms of graduation, we've got a top corner, right guard, and tight end. We also have our 90 overall right guard and a 91 overall left guard. Definitely a different graduating class than what we are used to seeing in past seasons. A lot of mid 80s or upper 80s this time around. But when you look at how few we lost otherwise, I think we're still going to be in really good shape for next year. And so 3 players end up getting drafted, all of them 91 overall, both wide receivers go in round 6. And our left guard graduating senior goes in round 6 as well. So 3 players drafted is really good for us. We already had 6 signatures. We now have our 7th. All of them are 4-star guys, this time a right edge. We've also added in our first 3-star signature for a corner, Cornell Lucky. Oh, we've got a chance at 4 more 4-star recruits this season with transfers. We've got a junior, another junior, a freshman, and a junior. Halfback, corner, defensive tackle, right guard, and I'm able to almost get all 4 of them at 50 hours already. It's week 2. None of them got an offer in week 1. Normally things are kind of normalized by week 3, so they could have offers this week. But there's some others out there too that we could end up getting after. Well, 2 of those are going to work out. Halfback, cornerback, I think we've got them. The corner, maybe. We're still early in that process. Maybe somebody else can come in. We're not going to get this one. He wants to go to Tulane. He started out wanting to go to Tulane a fair bit, and their 50 hours versus ours made a massive difference in their favor. They have a lot more prestige than we do. They've been winning a bit longer than we have. This one's also not going to work out. We didn't even crack his top 8 with a 50 hour. Or I guess that was 30 hours or whatever it was. 3 more slots available. Outside of the transfers, which there's definitely some risk involved in those if a bigger program comes along and spends 50 hours, though I'm spending 50 on all of them and even getting a visit at least for one of them. The others, it's not narrowed down enough to be able to do a visit. But beyond that, for the other 29 guys, there's only 3 that there's any risk of losing. The 26 are a lock otherwise, and those 3, all 3 of them look really good. There actually isn't competition right now from any one of those 3, but for example, if Tennessee came in on one of them and bid 50 hours, like, we would lose. So there is at least a little bit of risk, but there's a very good chance that we are going to get all 35 of these guys and a record-breaking number of 4 stars. The transfer-wise, 3 of them are 4 stars. At the top of our list, we're looking at 9 4 stars, a 5-star. We might finally get that 5-star. So potentially 12 4 stars and a 5-star, when last year we shattered our record to get 9 4-stars. We've already got 6 of them signed, so we're well on our way to at least getting the 9. National Signing Day, I have a really good feeling about this. We already knew we had the first guys, but we've got 7, 8, 9. Our first 5-star at 10. The others are the transfers at the bottom, but so far the class is perfect. Through 25 guys, through 30, and the transfers. A perfect class of 35. We got them all. Holy cow. 12 4-stars and a 5-star. 5 transfers overall. 30 high school freshmen. Georgia had the number 1 class in the land. 5 5-star recruits. Texas, Clemson also having 5 each. Wisconsin had 3. And after making the top 25 for the very first time a year ago, we've pushed it into the top 15 a year later at 14th. We've also added that half-star of prestige, which will make recruiting a little bit easier. We can progress Cobb's number 1 guy, middle linebacker, 5-star, 15th best player in the nation. Oh, I like this view. So we got the 15th best player in the nation for middle linebacker, 32nd best in the nation at halfback. That is a transfer, a junior. Right guard, 57th transfer. He's a junior. Those are both going to be quality players right away. They're both top 5 players at their position. Then back down to the high schoolers, top 100 player. These guys are all top 200 players, including our first 3-star player, a transfer. In fact, we got 3 transfers in a row here. All of them are quality. All 5 transfers are quality. 201 was the lowest guy in the class, and that one was a little bit harder to get the signature of because we are so good and deep at quarterback. We lost some guys, so all of a sudden we had vacancies, but it was at the bottom end of the list. That's the only quarterback I got. So a freshman transfer coming in, meaning we're going to be a little bit older. I think that quarterback position is going to start functioning a little bit different for me from now on. But we've got quality wide receivers right here after, and then just a handful of 3-star guys at the end, and only a few of them. And this is a little different than previous years where we had consistency throughout our 32, 33, 34 guys, where I was able to get them all top 750 and only maybe get 1 or 2 4-star guys. Well, now that I'm focusing on the 4-stars, well, for one, we got a lot more of them. We got 13 4-star or better players. But for the 22 others, some of them are still the normal guys we would have gotten after. Others, I'm not putting any hours into it, so we're getting a little bit more of the leftover scraps. So there is a group here of, what, I'd say 6 guys? Yeah, 7. 7 guys outside of the top 750. 2 more outside of the top 700. So our 3-stars do drop off a little bit. They don't quite have the same depth that we normally have, but we still got 35 guys. And this is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. I'll take a few guys at the bottom end dropping off for what we got in quality at the top end otherwise that we've never been able to do before, not even close. The recruiting classes of the last 2 years, and remember, we didn't have guys transferring out. The recruiting classes of these last 2 years are going to start transforming this squad from a slowly climbing mid-80s or low to mid-80s, inching our way a little bit better year by year, to I think we're going to start getting better more quickly in the next couple of years. Here's a good example of how much progress we've made. I've got 2 senior cornerbacks currently for off-season development, an 81 and an 80 overall. Then it immediately drops into lower classmen. We've got a true sophomore who played a lot less last season. He's a 79 overall, and he's going to develop. He deserved that spot. We didn't redshirt him. But then you've got 3 redshirted guys. One of them's already a 77, and he's only a sophomore. And then 2 redshirt freshmen that are already in the low 70s and about to develop. The true freshmen coming in, we've got a couple of them right behind them, and we're fine. on that. There's no issues at corner, and we're going to be stronger. 81 was the best we had this last year. I'm looking at 3 to 4 guys that are going to be better than that in the coming season. Right now, I'm looking at depth at virtually every position, other than middle linebacker, which is definitely a bit soft right now. But Burrow should develop a fair bit, hopefully hit an 80. We have a 95 overall strong side linebacker going into senior year. Maybe he could hit a 99. That would be our first. That's definitely a contender to be a first-round draft pick. Would be our first. Holy cow, the halfback Slater that we brought in, the transfer guy, he's going to be a senior this year. He's a 90 overall right now. We just transferred in a 90 overall who's coming off a 1,200-yard rushing season with 16 rushing touchdowns. Cobb's our 5-star athlete who could play just about anywhere. Well, not just about anywhere. He's got a good 7 or 8 positions that he's really good at, but he's going to be a true freshman and an 80 overall. I'm going to put him at corner, and he will 100% play. Training results. Jackson did it. We've got our first ever 99 overall, though it does say above me at 97, so I'm not quite sure how that one works, but anyway. Yeah, phenomenal. That's definitely a candidate for a first-round draft pick. Slater's a 93. And there are lots of players mid-80s or above, and tons of players at 80 or above. And very, very few players still in the 60s. Very few. Ishmael's going to be an 86 overall, putting him ahead of Murphy to start this season. And Free, who's a freshman, is an 81 overall already. Playing time is what he cares about, though, so that could be a problem. Murphy will graduate, but he'll be number 2 next year, so we might not be able to hang on to Free. Halfback looks real strong. Fullback, a 76 and a 72. Big improvement from where we were last season in the 60s. Wide receiver, we lost 2 very good wide receivers, but we got 3 guys in the mid-80s, so we're deeper than we were in previous seasons. Folsom at a 79 is also pretty good. Tight end, it's going to be a rebuilding year at tight end. 71's the best we've got. Left tackle, we made it to 80. Left guard, 85. At center, 2 guys at 79. Right guard, 86. Right tackle, 86. Plus, there's depth behind those players. So just a couple seasons ago, we didn't even have any linemen over an 80. Now all of a sudden, we not only have an 80 at virtually every starting position, but we have what we had in starters a few years ago backing them up. Left edge, an 80. Right edge, a 70, a couple 76s. Defensive tackle, an 80. Strong linebacker, 99. Middle, 80. Weak side, 2 guys, 80 plus, and a 79. 4 guys at 80 plus at corner, including an 86. That's going to be locked down. It's going to be so hard for quarterbacks facing us this season, at least in the conference. Free safety, 86. Strong safety, 87. Kicker, 89. And 84 for punter. Well, we did make that half star in prestige. So we're going to stay put in the MAC. Look for championship number 4. See if we can't make the playoff again. But maybe it's next season that we go ahead and make the move. We'll see how this season goes. Where we move isn't necessarily decided yet. American, definite possibility. Big Ten or ACC. Maybe we reform the Pac-12. Make some conference realignment happen. I can control it, so I can make something happen. I'll need to look at where the prestige is this season of each conference, as that's going to be a factor. We need a conference that is more prestigious than the MAC, and we know that there's a couple below us, and we don't want to move up just a tiny bit. we'd like to move up a bit. But we're not going to somewhere like the SEC, where as a 2.5-star program we would struggle. And our ratings for the year, we're now an 87 overall with an offense at 86, staying put where it was a year ago, but the defense taking the big step forward from an 84 up to an 89, bringing that overall up a couple more points. Coach Prestige did take that little bit of a hit due to the replacement of our offensive coordinator, but we're still 33rd best at a B, and should be able to bring that one along pretty quickly. We only have one player at risk preseason wise for play style, just the one kicker worried about the coach Prestige, and one tight end worried about pro potential, and one player worried about the depth chart and where they fit in. So right now looks like maybe 4 guys that we would be losing, but we're going to start the season ranked. We are 24th. It's taken us half a year, every year up to this point, to see a ranking for our program. And we've been ranked for pretty much all of the last 6 years, off and on. But this is going to be the first time that we start the season ranked. They like us. They like us a fair bit. And if we can walk through our schedule, then there's no reason why we wouldn't be headed to the playoff again. But walking that schedule is going to be a lot harder this year. We have Tulsa, 6-7, at home. Okay, like that's a decent team, but we should win that one. But then we've got Ole Miss on the road. So we've got an SEC program who were only 5-7, 4-4 in conference last year, but it's still Ole Miss. Appalachian State, who is a perennial contender for their conference. They were 11-3 a year ago, and they win 10+ every season ever since they pulled off the FCS. Like, they were a Division II program. They upset Michigan, and that instantly put them on everybody's radar. And then like a year later, they moved up to the top division as a result, and within a couple of years turned themselves into the best in their small Sunbelt conference. FCS West after that, but those are 2 difficult games, especially Ole Miss on the road, and we could find ourselves taking a loss somewhere. We've got Northern Illinois on the road after they had a good season last year. Central Michigan at home should be a win. Buffalo at home. Kent State, our rival, on the road. They were 5-7 last year, though. Miami, 8-5 last year, and on the road. We do get Western Michigan this season and at home. No reason why we shouldn't go undefeated in the conference, but especially as we get better and better. But certainly not a guarantee. We could easily lose one along the way, but I think we are a shoo-in for at least the MAC championship as one of the top 2 teams in the conference during the regular season. But we could easily be 10-2 at that point. We've gone straight through that non-conference schedule. Not perfect, but we did note that there was going to be 2 really tough games. Tulsa, we blew them away 54-10, but Ole Miss, who is ranked 3-1, we lost 47-42. That was a road game, so we were so close to getting the victory on that one, and we find ourselves ranked actually just 1 spot behind them. Appalachian State was a difficult one. That's a very, very good team. Their ratings just a few points overall below ours, but we were at home. That helped, and we win 47-36. Northern Illinois has some quality this season, and we were on the road, and we actually ended up winning a much closer game than I expected, 53-47. But here's the finally blowout victory that we've been waiting for this season with FCS West. 80-0. 80-0. That is the biggest win in program history, at least scoreline. But next up is a tough Central Michigan, who is 3-1. Later on, Kent State on the road at 4-1 looks like the other toughest test we will face the rest of the season. Now, in theory, we should be able to run the table and go 11-1, 12-1 with a MAC championship. We'll see if we can succeed in doing that, though. 6-1 on the season so far, and we've just leveled up. Increased starting interest from quarterbacks is the last of those besides kickers that we're going to need to worry about. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to bother with that unless I really just kind of have points sitting around. So we're kind of done with this phase except for transfers. And I think I might get on with the quarterback one, because getting a good transfer quarterback can be really important to take over as a starter. So we're going to push this one to tier 3. Second signing of the year, but one of them was one of those instantaneous, you gave the scholarship offer and they signed. That was a 3-star tight end. We have a 4-star halfback who has signed on in Kasim Murphy. Next signature, 4-star middle linebacker Molinaro out of Ohio. So following that FCS victory, we had Central Michigan where we squeaked out a 31-28 victory, then 59-27 on the road at Bowling Green, followed by Ohio, 51-14. We beat the Bobcats there. Next up is Buffalo. They're only 4-4 this season, but Kent State is still rocking and rolling, 7-2 overall. That's going to be a difficult road game. Miami at home is going to be a difficult road game, even though they're only 5-3. Western Michigan, the defending participant of the conference championship. It's really all 4 games are going to be tougher than your average game for sure. But at 7-1, we're looking real good. I would love to be 11-1 heading to a MAC conference title game. I settle for 10-2. We are ranked. We are 21st. We certainly have the quality to win all 4 of these games, or we have the quality now to win every conference game. And we used to slip up just once or twice a season, plus the championship game half the time. I feel like we can narrow that to 0 to 1 time per season loss within the conference. It's just, is it going to happen at the championship game? Is it going to happen during the regular season? I don't think we are a lock to just win every single game conference-wise permanently. We're not quite there, but we are getting closer. I'd say an 89 or a 90 overall would be good enough to win every single game in the conference every year. Following the wins against Ohio and Buffalo, where we were very comfortable, 50-point range in the teens on what we gave up. Buffalo, for one, we were at home, and for another, it's not the team it was a year ago where they were mid-70s, flat 70 this year. But next up is the best record here in these final 3 games, the biggest opportunity for a conference team to actually pull an upset against us. It's also our rival. They are 7-2, 4-1 in conference. They look awfully good until you look at this screen. They're just a 65 overall. How they have that record, I do not know. I do not know how they've managed to win 7 games with just a 65 overall rating. We should win this extremely comfortably. We have our next signature, a wide receiver, Babcock, 4 stars. And still nowhere near as comfortable as it could have or should have been, but we do win on the road. Okay, fine. 49-35, and we do go to 9-1, and we're just 2 games away from a perfect conference season at least, and 11 wins. We have lost out on one, though. We had a lead on this 4-star center for a while, but Tennessee, who started very gently on this one, and we had gotten a good head start against them, then came on strong and pushed on through, burst past us, and got the signature. So we do miss out on his signing. And we're still fairly early in the process on this 4-star guy after one of our earliest signatures, but I'm going to have to let him go, even though we're still ahead Clemson. After 50 hours, you can see just how little progress we make where they come in, and whether that's 25 or 50, who's to say, but it's 3-4 times what we were able to do in a given week, meaning we have no chance, and this is not about to go across the line, right? This is 50% of the way there only. We'll move on to another recruit. The last of the 4 stars that I was after, anyway, I just started this week, so we are now beginning to go after our 3-star recruits for the year. And now that I also have a couple of vacancies, we'll take a look and see if there's anybody we can pick up that maybe got dropped. And there may be other scenarios such as this one where you got guys that there is some competition, but I feel that I can get after some of these 3 stars now where I couldn't before. But then there's some like this where there's 3 other schools, including big programs, that can progress much faster, and it's just not worth it. So I'm starting to weigh those options out I'm more inclined to go after some of these players where I would have gone after none of them before. It was an automatic drop, but you've got to dump the hours in if you're going to win the battles. And this one, we're behind to Oklahoma. We're not going to beat Oklahoma head to head, therefore off the list. Find a replacement. TCU, well, we know that that's a 4-star program these days, so that's another loss. I need to get after this free safety and this corner here very soon before we lose out on them. There's actually there's really a few that I need to get after before it's too late. Yeah, suddenly I'm down to 27, so I've got 8 to fill in after I've kind of reassessed our 3-star selection and remove those that were in competition that we couldn't get. There's only 1 or 2 that it looks like we still have a good fair shot at. So we've gotten rid of 8. We've kept 2. Right now, I think 20% of those are battles worth taking on. And even though their record didn't show it, Miami is the real threat. A, we're on the road. B, they've got the 74 overall this year. And a fairly good record, 6-4 overall, 4-2 in conference. They should be better than they've been, which means they are vulnerable. Being on the road is being on the road, and it does negate easily 10 points of your overall. It would, or at least that's how it has felt throughout this series, meaning I think we're only just barely favorites for this one. This could be a very close game within a score. I think we're probably 3.5 point favorites. But while waiting on that result, we have our next signee, 4-star wide receiver, Ficken, and 4-star defensive tackle, Egnew. And we've got the win, 10-1. 52-42. Actually a little more comfortable than I expected. I knew it was going to be pretty close. Our defense struggled to shut them down, but they could not stop our offense on the day. And we pick up a very solid chunk of points to claim victory. And now just 1 to go in the season at home against Western Michigan. We're definitely headed to the MAC championship again. And we keep landing them. Halfback, 4-star, low. And Western Michigan has pulled the upset. We were at home for that game. Slater sets the single-season rushing touchdown record in that final game. He was a good transfer pickup, a very good transfer pickup, definitely our best we've had up to this point. He also set the MAC single-season rushing touchdown record. Holy cow. How did we lose that last game? Seriously. Offensive player of the week. 183 yards. How did we lose? What in the world happened? And we get Kent State in the MAC championship. It's a rivalry game for the MAC championship. Cool. We're down to 25th in the rankings. We are 100% not headed to the playoff this year, but let's at least get that MAC championship secured. I think I'm back on track to make it 5 before I move to another division. This needs to be number 4. Definitely not a perfect year when it's come for going after those 4-star guys. I think we're a little bit off from where we were last year, but there's been so much more competition for those signatures this year. That's happened before. I've had years where things were a little off, a little down, a little more competitive, not as many leftovers available, and we just ended up with a little bit less. This is one of those years, yet we're still performing well. We have 7 signatures already. We are on our way to more 6 4-star guys so far. It's already shaping up to be a good, strong class. Just not quite on par with last year. Maybe a little shy of where the year was before. However, that year before, it's only just now that we've figured out that transfer market and how to secure those players. So knowing that I can still pick up a 3-4 guys that way, solid pickups through the transfer market. You add that in prospectively to this class, and we're looking really good. And in part, well, it's that extra half-star of prestige because we have been able to win a few battles, and especially with that extra half-star of prestige, not only do we get better recruitment results talking to the players, we also get that extra 50 hours. Collectively, it's making a real difference on getting us where we need to be on a lot of these guys. And, we're now actively really getting after a few players, including some 3-stars and including some more 4-stars we're certainly trying for. But in that mix, in that blend, we're really aggressively already getting after some 3-stars, which we weren't able to do last year before, when we started making this shift towards the 4-star targets. So some of those better 3 stars, and for the most part we're talking about highly ranked guys. Not all, there's a few lower ranked guys in this 3-star, but there's a lot of quality in them that I wasn't quite able to get to last year. Like I said, there was a big drop off at the end of the group. There's less of a drop off so far this year, but we're not done yet. We still got a MAC championship, playoff, all that kind of stuff before you get into that transfer off-season 4-week period. Getting the double against Kent State shouldn't be hard with the 20-point advantage we have and the neutral territory we're going to play in. But rivalries are rivalries, and we've seen things go haywire, especially in other games with rivalries. It's not Hawaii. It's not Hawaii. It's Kent State. We're going to get this thing. And we are MAC champions. That last game, by the way, defense just did not show up. We scored 51 against Western Michigan and lost 54-51. Defense has really struggled the last few weeks of the year. It got progressively worse. Back in control, similar scoreline to what we did the first time against Kent State, where it was 49-35. This time, 52-31. So we gave up 4 points less. We scored 3 points more. A touchdown. A single set of 7 points was the difference in the outcome first game to second game. But for the college football playoff standings, we're not even in the top 25. Back over in the media poll, we are 24th. Up 1 spot from a week. Oh no, same spot as a week ago. We were 24th last week. So we are ranked, but not in the playoff rankings. We're 100% not going to be in. We're going to have to head to a bowl game, and to have any hope of raising that prestige further than the 2.5 stars, it is going to require a bowl victory. I think winning the MAC championship alone will not do it. I think 11-2 alone will not do it. That's kind of the problem therein with the conference we are in right now. We have to win 10 plus games every year, really, just to be stable, I think, at the 2.5 star type range. To progress, it's going to take something like a trip to the playoff. We only gained half a star last year from not only going undefeated and making the playoff, but then winning our first round playoff game, and we still only gained a half star. So this season is very much feeling like stable only, and I fear for what could happen if we lose the bowl game. I feel like we could go backwards in prestige and maybe lose that half star. I think we're okay. I think we're good enough at this point. I think 11-3, we're stable. I think 12-2, I think we're stable. I think it's down or up just a little bit, not enough to change the rating is my assumption, but I could be wrong. Second 3-star of the class, free safety Clapp. Also a little end of season or late season review of where we're at playing time. A wide receiver and a way down the depth chart left tackle are the only two that we are worried about on playing time. Coach Prestige, 1 kicker, and that's because we lost that offensive coordinator. He's the only one worried there. And I have plenty of backups behind him. I have plenty of depth at kicker. It's all quality. I'm having a really easy time putting very little effort in to recruit the best kicker in almost every class, like every other year. Pro potential, 1 player worried. So we stand to lose probably 4 players this year. And that's it, unless we've got some guys wanting to go into the draft. The Heisman has gone to a wide receiver this year, and from Georgia, not Ohio State, 1,900 yards, 16 touchdowns. And we're headed back to the Bahamas Bowl, where we've been before. We are going to take on Air Force, and because of the college football playoff rankings, we don't get to carry that number next to us. But again, we're like 24th. I would think we should be favorites for this one against Air Force, but I don't know what their quality rating is, but I'm guessing it's in the mid to upper 70s is what I would assume. Wow, yeah, Air Force is only 6-6, 4-4 in their conference. Oh my goodness, they're a 57 overall. Oh, we have to win this one. Big time. And we're the Bahamas Bowl winner, getting to 12 wins for the year. Pretty comfortable. I feel like we actually could have done more with the serious advantage we had. 34-10. I have no idea how Air Force even qualified for that bowl game. They barely qualified for a bowl game, period, let alone a week 2 bowl game. They should have been in a week 1 basic entry bowl, not that second tier. Pitt has won the national championship. Now, we already saw from last year just how good they have gotten over the course of this series. So it's not a massive surprise, but oh yeah, it's a surprise. Though we did see them lose the national championship a few years ago as they've been building. I think the big surprise is Oklahoma. Oklahoma hasn't been in a national championship at all throughout this series, so for them to get there now, it's a big testament to the progress they are currently making. It was 31-23. It was a 5v6 matchup. And skipping over the playoff bracket itself, here is the final standings with Miami, who entered as the 1 seed, and Clemson as the 2 seed, dropping to 3-4. Looks like they lost their semifinals. Pitt, only an 89. We're not that far off from that. They're up to 4.5 stars. Now, Oklahoma's at 4.5. Miami's at 5. Clemson's at 5. Okay, never mind that part. Let's continue on down. USC, Notre Dame, BYU. Big surprise there. Baylor. Ohio State, only 9. Tennessee, 10. Georgia, just 12 this year. Oregon finally back in the rankings. Alabama down to 14. And we do finish the season ranked at 24. And it looks like we are going to hold at 2.5 stars, as I predicted. I think maybe, like I said, we might have gotten the smallest increase on that prestige behind the scenes, under the hood progression, just slightly towards that 3rd star, but nowhere near getting it. And it's going to take better than that. Now 13-1, winning a bowl game but not playoff, maybe that could push us to 3 star. I think making the playoff could absolutely push us towards that 3rd star before we make our progression towards a new conference. Speaking of, now that we are 1 MAC championship away from that, which means probably next year, what would you like to see? And gosh, maybe I'm too late for this. No, I think I'm not too late for this. What would you like to see? What conference should we move on to? We know it's going to be a short list on players leaving. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way, because I'd like to see where we are, and that's in the recruiting page. Only 3 players looking to transfer out. Only 3. We'll try to keep them all here. And it failed for all 3. Weird that a true freshman is leaving over playing time. When he's got quality, he's going to move himself up the depth chart. He played. I didn't redshirt him this year. I don't think. Oh, maybe I did. I think I might have redshirted him after 4 games and 0 catches. Like, he got a little bit of time on the field, but it was 2 or 3 snaps a game over 4 games. And then it was like, okay, let's redshirt him and wait for next year, only to have that backfire. Anyway, graduation-wise, we've got a right tackle in 86. We've got a kicker who's in 89 graduating. We've got a strong safety in 86. Our 98 overall. Strong linebacker projected round 1. That's what I'm talking about. That should be our first. Zimmons, 84. A day or a die, 85. There's Batonio. Okay, halfback. Yeah, he's out. And Slater. So we do have a big gaping hole at halfback to fill with our top 2 guys, each graduating. One, Slater, comes in as that one and done kind of transfer guy. Great pickup for us. Really helped this year. However, I mean, we did drop a couple games, but never mind that part for a moment. He's projected round 2, so it looks like we've got 2 guys headed for the high end of the draft. That's going to be pretty good. XP on that coach level up stuff. No recruiting, no draft results yet. We're going to wrap up this episode here in just a moment, but I want to see what our grades are now looking like. Championship contender, A-, 12th best. We're solid. They very much like us now. We've moved up a lot. We've built a good, strong, consistent contender. Program tradition is now growing much more rapidly. The conference championships has built quite quickly. The playoff game that we were in has made a big difference, and suddenly, in another bowl game, we're up to a C- when we were at a flat D like a year ago. Campus lifestyle still a C-. Stadium atmosphere is growing with that team prestige rising, and the home win percentage climbing. It's up to 50% now. So we've won half of our games, and it's making a difference. But the atmosphere is still only a D. We've gone from near the bottom end of that list to, we've cracked the top 100, but we've got a ways to go. We're going to have to keep winning some games to bring that one along. Brand exposure has picked up a lot, from pretty non-existent to a C-. Yeah, academic prestige, it is what it is. That one's bottom end. Conference prestige, here's what we came to look at. So Conference USA, no way are we headed there. Sun Belt is below us at a C-. The MAC is a C. Now, if we were to reform the Pac-12, well, it's down to a C+ now, with only 2 programs in it. 2 programs that, one of which has found a little bit of stability and has still have some quality. The other one has absolutely tanked, with anybody and everybody, coaches, players, all transferring out. And what they've been left with is a team that's a shell of what it used to be. So they are really struggling. They're keeping their baseball program intact, but yeah, their football program, not so much. So I think that's out of the cards. We need to progress up more than just a partial letter grade. That means our minimum, Mountain West, geographically, doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's also only a B-. So I think our candidates, American Conference, that's a full letter grade up from us. That's 3 divisions up in prestige. There's some quality programs, and I think we can instantly slot in as a top 3 or 4 program in that conference, meaning we can still continue to win games, still continue to make bowl games, recruit a little bit better, and not see our prestige fall. And if we can continue to build up, then maybe we actually can go ahead and win that conference at least occasionally and build the prestige a little bit higher. Not easily from there, but it can be done. Much easier there than where we're at right now. The Big 12 definitely offers more depth, more quality than the American would. Geographically doesn't make a lot of sense, though. I think realistically, we're looking at 2 candidates. I will not head to the Independence, which is just Notre Dame and UConn. In fact, I would happily do away with the Independence. I would be more than happy to move Notre Dame into the ACC and move UConn into a conference, possibly the ACC as well. I wouldn't mind actually doing a fair bit of realignment in a logical type manner. Should I do? So, question 1. I think really we have 2 choices. We move into the American, or we move into the Big 10. Question 2. Should we do minimal realignment, realistically moving ourselves and next to no one else, if not no one else? Or do we do a big reimagining of what I would like to see happen realignment-wise, with lots of moves? Rebuild the Pac-12 in the process, something similar to what's happened in real life on that. We're enough years forward that shuffling could all happen, and a few other logical moves with it. We'll see if I can leave the Independence blank. If I can, I would do that. I would empty out the Independence. I think it's wrong to have a couple Independents, especially the one that's there so that they can have their own media deal and make a ton of money. that way and not have to play a real schedule as a result, where they only schedule 3 actual games a year and then they fluff the rest of their schedule so that they can get a leg up and they can give themselves 3 weeks prep for one game, because they know that they can cruise through 3 week opponents to get ready for that one game when somebody else is playing a top 5 team the week before and then goes in to play that game. Yeah, not right. I think they're the enemy of college football, the program that I hate the most. Unnamed, but I think it should be pretty obvious which one it is. But anyway, that is going to do it. That's going to do it for this episode, barring one additional note. Our half-star prestige for the off-season 4-week period has netted us an extra 100 hours. We've gone from 650 to 750 for this phase. That's healthy. That gives us a lot of additional options on getting after some players and making some signatures happening and using that transfer portal, and not just finishing off the signatures of those we are actively targeting. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.